Felix and Zach, we're going to get started in just a few minutes. We have some more people filtering in. All right, good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call this Rules Committee meeting to order. Today is August 8th. We're noticed from 1 to 3 p.m. It's 5 after 1, and we'll start with introductions, starting with George.
George Martinez.
Scott Myers. Mark Littlefield.
Karen Bronga.
Meg Zalatel. On the phone, Felix.
Here.
Okay, and Zach. Okay, great. We also have some other municipal staff and our legislative staff here. So we'll start with the report from the chair, then us legislative services and municipal clerk. So today it is my pleasure to say we've been joined by Daniel Boland first, and then and Scott, unless you were in the introduction. Sorry if I missed it. So it's my pleasure to award to George Martinez his 5-year service pen. So come on up, George. Super exciting. There's something about that milestone of 5 years with the municipality that you should all strive for. All right. The other thing I'm going to do in this moment is actually give Allie a moment. We've had some requests from members. We have the upcoming visit with Chitose, Japan, our sister city, and there's been a little bit of confusion around schedules. So I'm going to let Allie take part of the chair's report to kind of just make sure things are on your radar and we're all clear on what we're going to do. Thanks.
Thanks, Meg. You all received email invitations yesterday for a reception to welcome a delegation from Chitose, Japan. The Sister Cities Commission is organizing the delegation's visit. And so that welcoming reception will be on, I believe it's their first full day here in Anchorage. The reception has these evites, and so it is really important that you RSVP via those evites so that the commission knows whether or not to expect you, as there will be a program that evening. And for your information, there is also yeah, I just want to double check. I don't want to misspeak. Yep. Okay. For your information, there is also a ribbon cutting ceremony tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, August 28th. And that will be in the morning at 9 a.m. At Sand Lake Elementary School in Sand Lake Park, right? So you use the elementary school to access the park. And that is all assuming that an ordinance that is on the agenda this month is approved by you all as a body. So that is tentative, but it is scheduled for August 28th. That's Wednesday at 9 a.m. at Sand Lake Elementary School, down towards the park. That is not something that you've yet received an invitation to, but if you are plugged into the Chitose visit and would like to make the most of this opportunity to welcome and visit with the delegation and celebrate 55 years of sister cityhood, that is an event to put on your calendar.
Great. Thanks, Allie. And thanks for all your work on coordinating that. Allie and the chair have been working on that in coordination with our sister city and the Sister Cities Commission. The last thing for the chair's report is it's my pleasure to introduce Farina Brown from the administration and give her a few minutes to tell us all about the wonderful work she's going to be doing now that she's joined the administration's team. Come on up, Farina. We'll give you a microphone. And the floor will be yours.
All right. Well, good afternoon, and I appreciate being invited. As Meg said, my name is Farina Brown, and I am the new Special Assistant to the Mayor on Homelessness and Health. And I appreciate all of the work that the Assembly has done over the last 3 years in partnering with the last administration, sometimes a little more than partnership, but to really address homelessness. And I am happy to sit in this space and to be a part of the new administration's team and how we look to address homelessness. I will pause there. Do you have any questions before I just kind of give you just a very general overview? I do want to recognize that it is day 4. So I would highly encourage you to please be kind. There are many things that I can speak to at kind of a nebulous basis, but I don't want to be entirely concrete. And so, I'm a little further in than day 4.
Thanks, Farina. Yeah, if we have any questions for, let's kind of just get to know Farina, and then we'll get to know her work through the committee, I think, and give her more than 4 days on the job, perhaps, before we put her in that hot seat. But does anybody have any questions for her? Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
I absolutely want to give you the space to settle into your position and respect that. And I'm just hoping that very soon we'll be able to say, this is what's happening, because I'm feeling it greatly from my constituents.
Absolutely. I do want to speak to that. Abatement is a clear priority for the administration. Right now, what we're really looking to do is to get out of crisis mode, recognizing that the complexity of homelessness really requires that we have multiple solutions. Priorities include, and these are going to be parallel pathways, addressing a clear abatement process and ensuring that we have year-round shelter, and that we have a dependable and predictable shelter plan. as I'm coming in on day 4, there are just many of these things that put us in that crisis mode. And how do we move forward with consistency and reliability and ensuring that there's lots of collaboration? A key value and point of the administration is collaboration. And I can tell you my own personal perspective is that as many voices and as much open communication as we can have to co-create solutions is how we'll move forward. Ensuring that the Muni has a cross-sector number of voices at the table, including people with lived experience. Homelessness is so personal and so traumatic, not only for the individuals that are experiencing it, but for neighbors and for businesses, that there's not going to be one easy solution in how we approach that. So ensuring that we have as many cross-sector stakeholders at the table and that we can do something that's actionable and that within reasonable amount of time demonstrates what that action looks like is a part of our commitment.
Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I have a couple questions for you. So, and it's okay if you're not prepared to answer the first one. The first one is, so you're serving in the office of the mayor. How will your role overlap with, is there still a homeless coordinator position in the health department? And how will those two things interface is my first question. And then my second question is, perhaps if you could just share some of your background with us in this space. In a prior administration, I think we saw individuals who maybe didn't have much background relevant to homelessness be put in very critical positions to try to come up with a homeless response. So if you could just touch on your background, I think that'd be helpful.
Sure. To address your first question, the homelessness coordinator, the administration recognizes that a singular individual that's responsible for the massive amount of work is not a fair ask of anyone, and it creates lots of points of failure. So she's really looking to create a team, and that will include a partnership with the position that is housed at the health department. As far as my background, I have a significant number of years, despite only being 22, working in community behavioral health in Texas, Florida, Virginia, and I've been here in Alaska for about 14 years. I have served as an intensive case manager on an ACT team, that's assertive community treatment, for just over 5.5 years. Primary caseload were individuals who were experiencing chronic homelessness as well as acute psychiatric conditions. They were most often discharged from the state hospital. From there, it's just been a variety of that ongoing work. I have a master's degree in clinical counseling. I was formerly the deputy director for the Division of Behavioral Health. Prior to coming into this role, I was a program officer with the Rasmussen Foundation, and my portfolio included the homelessness initiative here in Anchorage. So I take a little bit of experience and kind of observation on what's worked and what's been difficult, but created solutions in multiple different states, but always recognizing that the challenges that we have here in Alaska are uniquely different and really require for a variety of different solutions that are collaborative.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've been joined by Anna Brawley. All right. Any other questions? Well, welcome aboard, Farina.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at Rules Committee. And Rules Committee is an opportunity where we really we have a notice meeting and we can address topics as a legislative branch, as well as discuss our work. So sometimes it's fun to tune in, might catch good little nuggets. You're always welcome to tune in. And then I am sure we will be seeing you at the Housing and Homelessness Committee as that moves forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
I was just hoping you would clarify if there's a problem with homelessness in our community. Are you the front line now because you're in place? Our emails should be going to you, Bill Falsey, just
Yes,
so we know.
Please address the emails to me.
Okay, and only you?
No, you can include a constellation of
Okay.
individuals, but I am the primary.
I appreciate the clarification. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
All right, thanks. All right. I have no other information from the chair. Hopefully he is relaxing and not melting in the Las Vegas sun. With that, I will turn it over to the clerk.
Thank you. So for our update, the deputy clerk has been working on the legislative branch record retention schedule. The draft is being finalized, and then she'll be working with the branch directors at the legislative branch to fine tune, and then it will be on its way to the assembly for approval. With the discussions of the answers to Assembly's questions that we're laying on the table during the meetings, we're looking for a way to add late on the table items to the packet on the meetings page after the fact without republishing the agenda. So there might be more to come on that. In licensing, they're working on a marijuana ordinance, and that work is ongoing, and so it should be coming forward in the next little bit. As you know, budget work is ongoing, and at the election center, they are upgrading the computer that manages the mail sorter. So a lot of work going on in all different areas in the clerk's office. And then just a quick reminder that your multi-talented budget analyst changed the input on your microphones, and so you don't have to have them so close to your face anymore.
Thanks, Jamie. On the budget front for our branch, if there's some burning need or desire you're thinking we should be including in our branch budget, you have until Monday to get it to our budget analyst, because we will be reviewing it prior to submitting it to OMB for inclusion in the administration's budget. So just FYI, that's underway. So best to send it through Matt. Matt will make sure that we get them all and can consider them. So we'd love to know ahead of time, right? You all have, through the budget process, the opportunity for amendment, of course, but if we know up front, we'll see what we can do. Anna.
Yeah, thank you. Two things. One, on the thanks for the reminder about the budget. And then I know we're going to be coming back to the work plan discussion. I think we've got a long list of things to do. So I think that's maybe a place to start if folks have thoughts about resources you need. For example, we put funding in for communications and convening folks. That's what paid for the housing summit. And there's money now for this year. So things like that, where if you see a need, this is a great way. And then, of course, just reminding folks we have a long to-do list. My question for the clerk, or just something to flag. So we have Alaska Municipal League. Some of us are going to Kodiak next week, to meet smaller group policy issues. But I'm looking ahead to December and our big AML, the conference. And I know the Clerks Association is involved in that. And so I just want to raise that, not just because it's our clerk's responsibility, but I'd like to think about how we can make sure Anchorage is being a good host city, maybe beyond what we've done before, knowing that there's budget constraints there. And I'll speak with the mayor's office about this as well. And I know Felix is the other AML member. We was very good about getting gift bags together last year, for example, kind of cobbled together, but I want to be more intentional. So I mostly just want to put that on the radar because I know the clerk staff has been involved in the past. And I know Barbara Jones in her prior role was involved and is now back at the city. So there's maybe opportunity there. Anyway, I just wanted to raise that, but I wonder if you have initial thoughts just, while we're here now, or if you want to defer to later.
I think the Anchorage Municipal Clerk has always been the host. There's committee work is what gets the work done in the organization, AAMC organization. And so the Anchorage Clerk's office has always been the host city representative on a lot of the committees. And so I'm sort of doing that. I'm also sort of the secretary. So I'm filling a lot of roles in that organization. But we can certainly have conversations. I am not aware of what maybe have been done in the past, only because 2020 and 2021 were interesting.
And I'll just briefly add too, I'm happy to be helpful on that or involved or not, if that's appropriate. The other thing to mention is National League of Cities. So it's their 100th anniversary. They have their own gathering down in Florida this year, but in December, I spoke with staff on Wednesday. They do intend to bring a contingent up. They've been trying to visit cities all over the United States. They've had a big RV. Obviously, they're not driving an RV up here in December, but they're planning to come up. And so I need to get more information. And I also have asked what resources they can bring in terms of, funding or whatever happens. But that's just another piece. And they will be in town to kind of make a big to do about cities and about Alaska cities. So anyway, just another layer to add on, but happy to talk offline. Thanks.
Thanks, Anna. Sounds like a recognition resolution in the offing as well. So, all right, with that, with the clerk's report done, legislative services, what's going on?
Great, thank you. Lots as usual. A new thing, Allie is working with some of your aides to do district-based newsletters and figuring out how to coordinate with our system to make it a little easier on your aides. And so she's working with a couple of yours. If any of you would be interested in exploring a district-based newsletter, talk to Allie. I sent out today some information for next week's work session to review the community council surveys and prepare for next year's capital improvement plan and capital improvement budget. Now is the time to start thinking about which projects you really want to champion for your district to get on bonds and in the legislative program. So that meeting will be the first step of discussing that. I am still waiting if anyone has feedback on the alcohol tax strategic plan. I would like to get that one checked off the list. And so we are talking with the administration to let them know about it and keep them looped in. But I imagine that the sponsors will be bringing an AR on that forward soon and just getting that one checked off the list. We got some new office space, Suite 70, 170 next door, and we'll be moving some staff into there so we don't all have to share offices anymore. We're very excited and appreciative of Chair Constant for advocating for that. And then we are having a branch staff retreat next Wednesday with all 4 offices of the Assembly branch to do some coordination and work between our offices and do a little bonding. And then, I don't think Jamie mentioned this, but she put together a really cool tips and tricks training. It started off with the idea of all the new staff coming in with a new administration, but a lot of staff who've been around a long time have been wanting it too. And so we just finished the second one today and had, I don't know, about 20, 25 people come and showing them how to navigate assembly materials and submit items, resolutions, and that sort of thing. And the staff were very appreciative. So that was really cool that Jamie got that going. Let's see. Some fun events coming up. We have another nerd night on August 29th. The topic is water, and it's everything from the color of water, which I'm not sure what that means, to just some really neat talks about different aspects of water. And then we have a food for thought coming up next week, I believe, and that's on harvest time, food security, and urban agriculture. And I think that's all that we had to share with you. Can you think of anything that I'm missing? That's it from us.
Great. Any questions? Okay. Oh, yep, Anna.
Thanks. Just a quick request. I was just looking at my calendar and I don't see an official calendar invite for the 29th. So if you could send it out when you have a chance. Or
Oh,
maybe
for City Nerd Night. Great.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Heard.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. All right. Any other questions? All right. With that, we will move along. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Claire.
We have started an Assembly 101 where we've done it with the Girl Scout troop and with a college class. And we're going to have a big group from Polaris come to the Assembly chambers on August 21st. And we're hoping to get them all up sitting on the dais and having an actual debate. And so I'll send some information out to you if any of you members would like to join us. I thought it was going to be a smaller group, but it's like 45 ninth graders. And so we might need some extra hands if any of you want to help participate in that. And we have a really fun debate and vote on whether dogs should be allowed in public facilities as this mock scenario I created.
Very cool. Don't forget, there's the giant Thor gavel in the drawer, which is tons of fun. If you don't know about it, well, we haven't had to pull it out yet. All right. Anything else for legislative services right now? It'd be really great maybe if that could just go on our calendar so we are aware of it and see if we can't help you out. Okay, with that, Mr. Rivera, I'm going to turn it over to you as we talk about finalized review of the 2024 work plan.
Great. Thanks so much,
Felix,
Meg.
I can help you too if you need it. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. We'll tag team. So, folks may not remember, but several months ago, at this point, we started going through and doing an update of the 2024 Assembly Annual Work Plan. We finished a few of the items. We finished the housing action goals, quality municipal services goals, the economic development goals, and the homelessness goals. And we still have 3 left. So hopefully everyone has the document in front of you so we can just go through these one by one and get some updates, see how things are going. So we'll start with the Assembly business goals and start with the join people together to solve local problems and help residents engage in local government.
Felix or
And maybe
Claire,
let's
do
just
you guys
on-
want to remind us of how you want us to participate in this in terms of if there aren't members on something or if there's only one member, kind of what the framework is so that we can engage with you all?
Yeah, thanks. Good question. So essentially what we're going to do is go through these one by one, and we are going to look at who is the lead. Are the people assigned here still the leads, or do we need to change them? For example, the second one that we're going to go through has the acronym KEC. Well, Kevin isn't on the assembly anymore, so that's something that we might need to get a new lead for that. And then if there's any current actions that are ongoing, let's update that. And then the status progress is either not started, which are the blank ones, in progress, or complete. And so if we need to update that as well. So those are really the 3 things that we're looking for. All right. I'm going to say for this first one under Assembly business goals, that's really an ongoing thing. So I don't know if anyone has anything they want to add, but I see that as a continually in progress. Next, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to just ask people to interrupt me. It's okay. I won't get upset. So next is the Adopt Assembly Code of Ethics and Conduct. Is there any update on this one?
I think it left when Kevin left. And I'm not seeing a bunch of eager hands waving to say they want to jump on it. So I'm wondering if it's just tabled for the moment.
Yeah, we can table it. I guess, is there someone from council there?
Yes, both Dean and Matthew are here.
Did Kevin work with you all on a product?
I can speak to that. It never got started. I shared with him the code of ethics that applies to and some other resources, and he didn't have time to work on it. And I think maybe council could speak to it. You guys already have a code of ethics.
I don't think a project was started in our office at all, so.
Okay, then I guess we'll leave that as tabled unless someone wants to take it.
Scott would like to say something. Scott?
I'm just wondering if this is something we can just cross off the list. We've all signed a code of conduct, code of ethics already. I think this was really brought up because Kevin got taken to the board over someone disgruntled in the community based on some prior actions that he was not involved in. So I think it should just go away.
I'm seeing a lot of head nods of yes to just cross it off. So that seems to possibly be the consensus. Of course, if that is not your viewpoint, you can either speak up now or you can let legislative services or Mr. Rivera or Felix know that you really want to take that on.
Awesome. I like that. Okay, so the next is establish equitable funding for the legislative branch.
Coming October 2024 for fiscal year 2025.
Okay, so can we mark that as an in progress then?
Jamie has the PDF up, and then I'm taking notes on an actual document that's just on my screen.
Okay, awesome. Then I'll just move on unless there's anything else. Build and strengthen relationships with state and federal counterparts. I imagine that's going to continuing to be in progress. I don't think that's ever going to be complete. I guess Anna, since you're there, is there any other sort of action updates, or is that pretty much it?
No, and I'd say this isn't going to be a specific project. It's more of a goal. We are working on that through various channels. I guess I would also add Zach Johnson on here as the third, being the new vice chair of the legislative committee. We still need to meet and get up to speed for the fall, but and of course that is something that I hope all 12 of us participate in to the extent that you have contacts or are engaged. But in terms of kind of roles, I think that's one of the goals of the legislative committee. Thanks.
Great. Then yeah, we'll get Zach added. So the next is continue to build systems and strengthen the branch to make it a desirable place to serve and work. Chris is on this one, but I don't know if you have anything on this, Meg.
Yeah, so it's something that's built into leadership, and then of course working with legislative services in the clerk's office and the ombudsman's office to make sure that we have high employee retention and recruitment within the branch. And we had actually, we should note here Jamie's survey, because that's something that was completed, the salary survey, and then how we jumped off from that and did the worked on the broader one. Perhaps that's some progress to report. Yeah, go ahead.
I've told some of you, but there's a group of former assembly members who are presenting to the Salaries and Emoluments Commission to ask for healthcare for members, and that'll probably be a long progress and may not happen in your lifetimes, but that is underway, and hopefully as part of that goal to make it a more desirable place to serve.
Anything else on that one?
Thanks.
Not your lifetimes, but your assembly spans.
I was going to make that correction, but thank you.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, wonderful. Then yeah,
Felix?
that'd be great if we can get. Oh,
Sorry, I
go
was going to talk to Claire and then I lost my train of thought. We're also doing a staff retreat for the whole legislative branch to create our own individual missions and visions statements to hopefully provide purpose for staff to look toward for being involved, for working at the municipality. And then I've also just recently brought back the funny called Birth Holidazzle, which is a sort of a get together once a month to celebrate all of the birthdays and holidays in that month. So that's just like a quick little 30-minute brunch or potluck just to get everybody in the branch together.
Great. Sounds fun. All right. So then the next one is the rollout assembly meeting public engagement improvement. And that one looks like it's assigned to staff. I assume this is all related to the assembly chambers. So I guess, Jamie, do you have anything to add?
I think it is. I think that they are ongoing with the purchase of the equipment. They've identified what they want to do. We decided to purchase the new equipment, and so they're installing it and getting it going. And then a next phase would be to put out a RFP or invitation to bid for people to come operate it, which is the way it has been done for many years. Operate the equipment that we have, which is the way it's been done for many years. So it is still ongoing. Should be done by hopefully the beginning of 25.
And Meg, for my part, we did upgrade the music during intermission, so it's now local music, which is very cool. That is an accomplishment this year. And alongside the upgrade to equipment, we're also making updates to the production, the graphics, the graphic elements that come through on the broadcast itself. So that's riding alongside the equipment upgrade.
And Felix, it looks like here, though, it says also and civic engagement materials. Do you guys want to note your newsletter work and stuff in this one? Because I think that that's really been a big civic engagement improvement.
Ooh, yes, love. I think, we included launching the newsletter in a previous accomplishments document. And so really strengthening and refining what the newsletter is and the information that it delivers is definitely something that we've been working on this year. Moreover, I think this goal is speaking to wanting to roll out more civic engagement materials at the meetings and in chambers. And that's something that we have prioritized now that it's August. We're like, oh, if we got to do that by the end of the year, we got to do that. So it will be coming this fall.
Go ahead, Karen.
Cool. Very cool.
Thanks. Felix, I was just going to pipe in. I missed continue to build systems, strengthen branch. Claire sent a message around about the Moose Loop team that I created for the MOA, and I'm the only one on it so far. I'm not taking it personally, but anyway, if we could get the word out, it'd be kind of fun. You can do the ride anytime before September 26th. It'd be fun to get a group together to do the ride. And we're going to do a training loop on September 7th with Parks Foundation as the East Side Moose Fork part that's not on the Moose Loop now that we would wish would be added.
Go ahead, Felix.
Then moving on to secure at least 2 of the MOA state legislative requests. We were successful with at least getting several of those through the legislature, so that's complete. That's probably going to be something that's ongoing in future plans. Develop strategic plan for equitable and effective use of the alcohol tax. I know that's ongoing work. So I don't know if anyone in the room wants to update on that.
Looks like we're just underway.
Got it. Okay, so it sounds like same progress there. Improve CIP and CIB process to broaden input from community on capital project priorities. Any updates on that?
That one's just moving along, and then there's another work session on 8/16.
Okay, great. Then that's it for the assembly business goals. Then next one is the public health.
One quick
safety, and
second,
quality.
Felix. You got a question in the room. Anna.
Yeah, sorry, on the CIP process, and I know we do have a work session next week. I was just wondering, are we targeting rolling that out in this year, the fall, or are we targeting for 2025?
The community council survey, I think I have passed on to Ona Browse, OMB director, that the assembly would really like it to start this fall. And she says that she and Bill Falsey are working on a plan. Hopefully they'll have an update at the work session. They've both been invited and I think plan to attend.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and I'll just say I got a contact from Ariana at FCC. I'll follow up with her, but I'm going to suggest that she just coordinate directly with Ona and Bill as well, as far as questions and process, because I think she had input she wanted to give. Thanks.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Great. All right, so then first one under the public health, safety, and quality of life goals is, and this was always an interesting one, see APD and AFD fully staffed. Randy designated himself as the lead on that. Randy's not in the room, is he?
No, he's not here today.
Okay. Then, unless other members have thoughts on that, I'll just move on.
Just pop my name on there. I'll work with Randy.
Okay, great. So then next is revise purpose and composition of Public Safety Advisory Commission. I know that that's a conversation that's ongoing. Any updates in that?
Yeah, actually, the main update is Wednesday, August 14th is the Public Health and Safety Committee. There's going to be a discussion and I believe a presentation from some community members with an idea. I have to miss that meeting, but I'll watch it later. But that's kind of the next step if anyone's interested. So that is in progress.
Very cool. All right, next is continue wildfire mitigation and response. There's no one assigned to this, but it does say that it's an in progress issue.
I dare say we have a pending item. So,
Yeah.
and Zach, not to volunteer you for anything, but I guess the question is, do you want down for that for District 6, as I know that you all are coordinating significant fire mitigation, particularly for the hillside, and similarly, do one of the Eagle River Chugiak members want to work on that? That seems to be, and then Miss Bronga or Karen for Basher and Eastside. Okay, I have a Scott volunteer and a Karen volunteer,
This is Zach. You can add my name as well.
and we have a trifecta.
Wonderful. All right. Then moving on to continue to push for APD Mobile Crisis Team and AFD Mobile Crisis and APD Mobile Intervention Teams to 24/7 service. That's blank, but I know that there are members working on that. Any status updates on that?
Yeah, so this is Meg. We have AFD doing their pilot of 7-day service, and we'll be able to get some data on that pilot here pretty soon. And I know MIT is now into a 24 model, and we should be able to ask for some data to do some side-by-side progress, or side-by-side data comparisons as we walk into the 25 budget. And previously on this, and I think hopefully still continuing, were Daniel Voland and Anna Brawley. They both helped with moving the funding. And I see yes nods, so I think we have another trifecta.
Great. All right, the next we have continue monitoring of body-worn camera implementation for police department. I know there are a few members engaged in this. I definitely want to put myself down as one of the three, and then if other two members want to, but I see this as a ongoing work that the Public Health and Safety Committee says. My understanding is that they're going to continue having this on their agenda. So this will be ongoing. If there are any other members who want to join me, that'd be great.
Yeah, this is Daniel. Please add me.
Okay, awesome. Next is determine a path for Eklutna River restoration that includes full dam removal. Any updates on that?
Oh, it's an ongoing saga. Ongoing saga seems like the appropriate status. Yes, we continue to work very gratefully in alignment and coordination with the administration now. And so hopefully we can have, we have a joint work session scheduled the 23rd with the native village of Eklutna to take this conversation up again. And so continues to move forward, and basically what says here, pursue technical and legal routes to protect water rights and MOA funds seems to be a very apt description of the efforts underway.
Great, thanks. Then the next one is invest in housing, parks, and trails to make sure we have a city where people want to live, work, and play. That's an everyone thing, and I imagine that's just going to continue to be in progress. But if anyone has any specific action updates they want to include, feel free to.
I have a request because I see the CASA bond listed here. I would like to see a capital improvement plan for the projects as we move closer to considering any project coming forward. Whoever's working closely with the folks who are doing that. I did see a request email come through and I responded saying, hey, are these projects sequenced over a number of years? What I would really like to do is include it in the capital improvement plan as we move forward. It seems like it's not a one and done. So just want to flag that. I had made the request and didn't get anything back to the community members working on the CASA. So if there are assembly members, it might be something you want to look into. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. On that same note, I think it would be good to get an update on the status of the work that's being done or the plan with the CASA bond, the one project that was moved forward, just so we can know how it's moving along and then plan accordingly for the future. Yes, we can add that to the next transportation committee meeting.
I have some.
Anna, then Claire.
Yeah, this is a general comment. I'm not suggesting we change this particular item, but I just want to flag that this has basically three really big or even probably more distinct topics in here. So it's hard to use this as a work plan item because one, it'll never be done. And two, it combines a bunch of different things. And so I think it's just something to think about as we draft goals going forward, is to make them more, if it's not project specific, maybe topic specific, because I know this is a catch-all category, but I just want to flag that this one just functionally is really hard to use. So again, I don't have specific changes, but for 2025, I would like to see things that aren't worded this broadly for this particular purpose. Thanks.
And Claire?
One really cool thing is a lot of the projects you funded with ARPA money 2 years ago are like having ribbon cuttings this summer. And so Allie is tracking a lot of those and doing more she's going to be doing more promotion of what got finished under ARPA. And if any of you want us to schedule work sessions or tours to go visit those sites, let us know and we can do that as well.
Could we parking lot that for maybe as a food for thought as well? Just kind of like the ARPA, like quick, right? Because there were so many, but it might be really fun to kind of do it all in one go to really think about all those wins we got. Karen?
I wanted just to respond to the CASA. Chugach State Park Citizen Advisory Group is meeting on August 12th, and they wanted to discuss CASA projects. So I'm planning on heading to that. It's a meeting that's open to the public at Potter Section House.
I think that's everything in the room, Felix, for that one.
Great, thanks. Then last one in this section is hold State of Alaska accountable to increase the BSA and address inequities in Anchorage funding formula. It looks like this is marked as completed for 24 and then in the LEDGE program for 25. I don't know if folks have any other updates on that.
Doesn't look like anything here in the room.
Got it. All right, so then last section is infrastructure and transportation goals. So first one is complete a decision on design for both Terminals 1 and 2 and Port of Alaska Modernization Program.
So on this one, I want to add the words for the goal, if it's possible, and ensure adequate plan of finance. And then I want to note we have a special meeting of the Infrastructure, Enterprise, and Utility Oversight Committee on the 23rd that will specifically be talking about the plan of finance. And then, of course, we have our regular Infrastructure, Enterprise, and Utility Oversight Committee on the 15th of August. And on that one, we will be talking specifically about the cranes for T1. with, and then there's a target date of bringing the bid winner to the assembly for action on September 24th for T1. So milestones coming up. You're going to think a lot about the port.
Great, thanks. Then next one, and these next few ones, there's not anything in status. So if there is a status update, let's get that. Snow planning, review various snow removal plan costs in terms of labor, equipment, etc. Any updates on that one?
Yep, Mark Littlefield, Randy Solt, and I are working through that, getting some data from Paul Van Landingham to work through like a service level demand budget structure in coordination with the budget process for this year. And then that kind of goes with the next one, which was the snow plowing and funding for all state roads. Randy, myself, and Mark are also having that conversation, particularly around exploring the use of TORA's transfer of responsibility agreements. And I believe Mark is piloting that out in Chugiak Eagle River first, testing the waters before the bowl takes it on. Go ahead, Mark.
That's true, and it's a long process. Also, the state, for their priority 3s and 4s, they had mentioned that they're going out for a contract above and beyond their workforce. So whether or not that comes through in the end of August and it happens, it'd be great. Then we won't be waiting for the priority 3s to be done 4 and 5 days later after the snowfall. So we'll see how that pans out.
So would it be fair to say monitor state contracting for additional capacity? Okay. And Anna?
Yeah, I do care about this, and I'm really interested in the budget implications of looking at that service level budgeting, but it seems like my name should come off of this one since there's 3 members working on it. So if there's a separate kind of budgeting piece, I can jump on, but yeah, happy to let this one go. Thanks.
Great. All right, so then for this one and the next one, let's go ahead and have Meg, Randy, and Littlefield on those 3, and then let's mark those as in progress. And then I think that's it for those, unless anyone has something to add.
One more, which is under the first block, we just, I want to put in the description, exploring a specific non-motorized snow plowing budget.
Great, I like that. All right, then not hearing anything else then. Next is increase investment in safe streets, road maintenance, and non-motorized transportation. It does say address through AMATs. Is this something, I mean, this sounds like one of those that's gonna be like continually in progress kind of things. And any other specific updates on this one?
Thanks, no problem. So George and I were looking at a NACTO resolution affiliation that got dropped over at traffic, but we've been told by Brad Coy that he's working at getting an affiliation with NACTO. So I feel like it kind of falls into this area.
Okay, great.
Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, on the road maintenance piece of that, I think I understand the idea with AMATs, and that's the capital project side. I think we don't want to lose sight of the fact that that's really an operating budget side as well. It's not an either or, and so again, so it comes through AMATs, but I think there's other conversations, and it really relates back to all the other stuff we're talking about, which is how do we pay for stuff. So anyway, just to note that.
We could note coordinates with CIB process, and and then flag it for revenue conversations so that we make sure we're doing it all those ways. And I guess it's a question to figure out as you take the completed work plan back is how do we cross-reference some of these that are just complementary, even if they're in different areas. Since that's through AMATS, Mark Littlefield is our alternate for AMATS now. We don't want to miss those initials. All right, got a thumbs up. All right, Felix.
Great. Then next one is revive the stormwater utility plan and identify sources for infrastructure funding. I have you on this one, Daniel. I don't know if you've already started conversations with the new administration or if you're just pausing on this one, if you have any updates.
Yeah, so this is something that I think when I had the opportunity to meet with the mayor just after her election that we briefly touched on. And actually, I'm glad that we're going through this exercise because this is something that I would really like to focus on. And so I will make it a point to reach out to the mayor and her team, Mr. Falsey perhaps, and try to get this conversation going and see what is needed, how the assembly would need to support that effort if the administration is interested in moving that forward. Certainly happy to continue to be listed as a lead in my continued war on surface parking lots. But yeah, if anyone else wants to join, that would be great.
I believe Chris is very interested in this topic. You might want to tentatively put him down for that and confirm.
This is Anna. I'd be interested as well. Although if there's somebody who really has burning desire, I don't have to, but this does relate a lot to housing and infrastructure funding, so.
And I have maybe a furrowed eyebrow where some members have never been briefed on the stormwater utility. So that might be something we want to note. All right.
Great. Then the last one, secure local control of 5th and 6th Ave. Any update on that one?
I think what's there is right. As far as I know, we'll have to check in with Lance. It's been an ongoing, again, could just write, saga continues.
All right, awesome. And that is it, I think. So I will turn it back to the folks in the room.
Sorry, can I actually? Okay, thanks. I don't think I was maybe here, or maybe I just don't recall when we went through some of the earlier priorities, particularly the housing action goals. And because this is the rules committee where we tend to speak a little bit more freely among colleagues, I actually want to be taken off as a lead for anything housing related for the foreseeable future. And the reason for that is because I feel like I have been on the lead of a lot of substantial legislation. So removal of parking minimums, triplex, fourplex reform, the home initiative. And y'all, I'm tired. I'm very tired. I feel like I've been busting my butt on some of this stuff, and it takes a lot of community conversation. There's criticism from both sides, people who feel like we haven't gone far enough on some of these reforms, people who feel like we're going much too far and that we're disrespecting the public process, and all of these allegations being made, despite the fact that we've done multiple community meetings. And so I think I really want to create space for some of my other colleagues, particularly my newer colleagues, to lead on these issues and to step out and put your neck out there and move these issues forward, because it's not easy. And, I just feel like in this next season with this new administration, I'm pivoting my focus a little bit. I want to work more in the area of transportation and infrastructure and dig into those issues even further, being on the AMATS policy committee and being on one of the co-chairs of the transportation committee along with Mr. Littlefield. And we put together this whole strategic, the Assembly's housing action plan that says we want to do these goals. But I'm seeing this dynamic where some of the colleagues are working really actively on moving those goals forward. And this is just my perception and it's how I personally feel. Other colleagues are kind of just sitting back and sort of sitting in the seat of judgment and just voting on some of this legislation without truly engaging. And so that's been a little tough for me personally, to try to find solutions on this stuff. Also wrestling often against a department that I've been accused of maligning, the planning department. And I don't mean to malign them, but I think that there's differing perspectives in how we tackle this housing crisis that we've all acknowledged. And it's been an interesting season to go through, and as a policymaker, try to bring things forward and have that be resisted by a department in some ways. And so, yeah, I think just after going through that process, happy where the home initiative has landed. I'm happy that it's no longer status in progress, but yeah, just want to voice those things. And for that reason, allow some of my other colleagues to work on these issues. And yeah, we can update the table accordingly. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing your perspective. I'll just say, if my name's on any of them, I'm a lot of fun to work with. Come join me. All right. Anything else on the work plan? Thanks to Felix and Claire for continuing to get us through this. This is pretty amazing that we have now goals and work plans. This is really, we're getting so sophisticated. Mark.
So I don't know if you can have 4 people on a project or not, but the stormwater utility is kind of close to home. I was here when it was initiated. I was working in a municipality. I've dealt with stormwater my whole life. So if I can help in that area, I can. If not, then it's entirely up to the 3 that's there.
Anna?
So I'm happy to jump off. And then if for some reason Chris decides he doesn't want to work on that, then I'm happy to join you guys. Otherwise, I'll leave you to it. Because, yeah, especially if you have that background, that would be awesome.
Good.
Okay. Anything else there? All right. Sounds good. Thank you again, Felix. Nuances of the Open Meetings Act, we're going to table for another time because there are a lot of nuances and it's going to take time to drill into all of those nuances. So we're just going to hold. So we'll move on to Assembly member discussion of pending business or updates from committees. This is often rushed at the end, so really going to encourage everyone to really think through what they have going on and give those updates. We are often, down to 5 minutes, and so everyone's like just ticking them off. And with that, I'm going to start on the phone. Zach.
Nothing for the body right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Felix.
Yeah, thanks. Nothing really substantive that folks are going to see in the near future. There are probably, as the body-worn camera, we've been using this word a lot today, saga continues. There may be some additional pieces with body-worn cameras that are brought forward, but otherwise, also going to be looking at having and starting a discussion around civilian oversight of APD. That is something that I am very interested in moving forward with in some way, shape, or fashion. And so you'll probably be hearing some more from me on that too. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. All right. Let's go with George.
All right. Thank you, Chair. A couple of items just to make sure that folks are tracking them. At our next CEDC meeting on the 3rd of September, I believe, that Thursday, I'm not actually sure what date it is, but the first Thursday of September, we will have our intention is to have a strong conversation with ASD. And they're going to come talk about and I put this on the record at our last joint meeting with the school board, but wanted to really explore their real estate portfolio, how they utilize it, especially with respect to the right sizing conversation that they're having right now. So the chief operating officer is scheduled to be with us. And this is a great time as the start of the school year for us to begin to engage that conversation. There are very specific things that may emerge, but just broadly, that conversation should be robust. There are a couple other items that we'll have on our agenda, but one thing just to note is that I also had a chance to meet with Member Volin and Member Bronga, who are going to be the co-sponsors of the Access for Youth resolution that we postponed. We've had a chance to meet with the municipal attorney and the municipal manager, who offered some complimentary suggestions and some additional language, but who are well aligned and who think this is a positive step forward. So you should all expect to see another version with some amendments coming on that alignment there. And I'll leave it for now. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Just flood a flag for you. In that transition report work session, there was also some examination of the municipal portfolio, real estate portfolio that was flagged. So if you want to do a concurrent or another meeting with the municipal manager and others to look at our own, might be worthwhile.
Right on. Thank you.
Scott.
Nothing to add at this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Mark?
Oh, my mic was on, I'm sorry. The AMAT's TAC meeting met on 8/1. There was some conversation about the Highland interchange and the artillery interchange. One of them isn't in the tip, which is going to have to be, they're going to have to find money for it if they want to move it forward. But they're moving forward with the design, and hopefully maybe next year we'll get some money for it and it'll get going. And they're moving that forward to the policy committee for our approval.
All right. Sounds good. Karen?
Thank you. So just going to shout out again, 9/7 at 2 p.m. We're going to do a Moose Loop East training ride. Going to take you through some of the most concerning East Side pedestrian issues on that ride. And it will be, it's in anticipation of hopefully one day getting the Moose Loop extended out that way. I'm also working on the alcohol tax actual having a score chart matrix that we can add to it. So I'm sorry that I haven't gotten real speedy at that, but I'm going to get that done. I'm working on a resolution for Akita to limit diet pills and muscle building substances to youth. And this would be an advisory to the state to look at those uncontrolled substances being available to youth. And I think the only thing that I want to throw out there that is just really premature at the meeting that George mentioned, we also floated an idea for workforce development. Spokane has a program that they fulfilled the problem with open positions at the municipality with opening a level of city government that was supported work. So they brought in people that were experiencing disabilities to have a coach at work. And it seems pretty exciting. They do supported work fairs and whatnot. So I floated that to the administration, and I'm looking to see how successful it was and if we should look at possibly doing that.
Great. Can I join that project? That's like near and dear to my heart. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. Anna.
Yeah, thanks. I'll give just a couple updates. And then just to note, George, something you mentioned, the ASD conversation in the ACE fund, so the marijuana tax funding. One of the things that's now in the charter says that we are supposed to prioritize reuse of, or either use of facilities being closed or potentially co-locating. So that hasn't been fleshed out at all, but that's another thing just to note, because it's, a directive to say if we have that space. Yeah. So just to note that. Generally speaking, I am still focused on housing. Happy to work with folks on anything you have ideas about. And then right now I'm doing research working with staff on basically the question of how do we make it easier to reuse existing buildings. So investigating, I don't have a specific thing that I'm moving forward, but we'll have some ideas there. Going to talk to the administration about that as well. Site access, if you remember the saga of what's in our code that is now paused. We've been working on the thing that we've talked about, which is a working group of practitioners. We've got a small contract to help with that, working with staff and then members of the public. So that'll move forward in the fall with the goal of bringing something back. It'll have to go through planning and zoning, but probably February, March, get that done. And then lastly, I'll just mention, I am attending mostly just to listen. Tonight, there's a Parks and Recreation Commission tonight where students from Sand Lake Elementary will be presenting on their idea to rename Chitose Park. So it's an item that's on our agenda for Tuesday. Myself and Cameron and Chris, well, Chris was the one who brought it. Cameron and I have signed on because it's in our district, but I'm really just catching up because it's really a student project. So I'm looking forward to that. And I understand we might see those students at the meeting on Tuesday. So just something to be aware of for a future meeting. And I think that's it for now. Thanks.
Thanks, Hannah. All right, Daniel.
Nothing additional to report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. For me, I want to mention thanks to Claire's hard work and collaboration with the administration. The employee survey goes out on Monday. That's a big milestone for us. It's something we had appropriated at 1Q. Great job, Claire. A couple of things specifically for me. With us moving towards some big port items in September, that will be a large amount of my time. Similarly, getting ready to jump into budget season. And then a couple of pieces of pending legislation I have. One is around the planned unit development process, and hopefully trying to find some streamlines to that process. And so I have an ordinance forthcoming, hopefully within the next month on that. And then I should be more organized. And then just going back, working through the process of getting two midtown parcels of land, hopefully dedicated as parks. One is the McDowell Sanctuary, which is over at 36th and Tudor. There's a wetlands back there. It's not actually a dedicated park. The other is at the request of the Rogers Park Community Council, that urban interface section right by Northern Lights and the highway. There's a big long strip of trees and it goes all the way down into Eastchester to the creek. That had intended when the last reconstruction was done to become a park, and it just fell off everyone's radar. So working with Parks and Rec and our council to walk through that process to get those done for Midtown. And really interesting one. We have had a constituent in Midtown right off the snow dump, the big hill you see as you head toward Diamond, on the east side of the highway. There's a fourplex there with a well. We've been trying to problem solve water protections for that property and that well. It falls in a donut hole of regulation. Since I came on the body, thanks to Lance Wilbur and staff, I think we've found a solution. So we may have something coming forward on that soon. Really niche, but it's one of those things where we find when code doesn't quite work out the way we were hoping it would, or that the intersection between state and local laws. So really happy to work on that. Anything else from anyone? Yeah, go ahead, George.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. I would be interested in the planned unit project that you're working on. I think I was at the AEDC conference yesterday, and one of our city constituents approached me and said, flag that for me. And so I'm glad you mentioned that today. I'd be interested in working on that. And just some good news, the chair's not here. The assembly chair is not here, but
That's good news?
no.
That sounds like that's the good news, George. Would you like to reframe?
No, not at all. You could take the soundbite and then he could feel how he feels about that. But I'll finish my sentence. And so I wanted to share information that he may otherwise have shared. The Assembly appropriated, and it's back to the ARPA question, and which is really exciting. And Claire mentioned earlier that, ARPA funding that had been appropriated, projects are coming online now, and things are hitting, the rubber meets the road. And so in Fairview, on earlier this week, there was the third of 10 properties that are going to be demolished with the ARPA funding. That was $500,000. And so that was really exciting. It's part of this whole move. And just to give you some numbers on that, we all know that there are approximately 170 vacant and abandoned properties on our registry. That means there are many, many more that may not be on our registry. But at least 20% of those properties that we know about are tear downs. which means the vast majority of the vacant and abandoned properties are redevelopment opportunities. And so the question about, Member Brawley, your project about just even, all the different types of reusing buildings, old buildings and housing stock and et cetera, we may be thinking of other types of buildings. But one of the questions that have emerged from that work is there really aren't a lot of folks who do the rehabbing here as just a part of the sector of the marketplace. And a lot of our folks are builders of new buildings. And so it really raises a question that hopefully we can see a little more opportunity to get into some housing stock that may be otherwise really available to just activate and turn on. But that's good news from our vantage point. I just wanted to share that. Thank you, everybody.
Great. That is a great segue. It's like you knew what I was going to talk about next. Just want to flag a few things for you all coming up. Tomorrow's work sessions, we have one on the 2024 Housing and Community Development Annual Action Plan. Anna is going to chair that one. And then we have the work session on reappropriating ARPA funds, specifically for emergency sheltering, but we will have a handout and really want to expand that conversation into if there is additional ARPA funding, what do we want to do about it? And so, although that has a narrow title, I want you to be thinking just a bit more broadly about that one. And then we have after that on the 16th and 23rd, just really want to put it on your radars. We do have some considerable calendars for work sessions coming up. It seems that we've got some picked up pace because we punted a lot of things to the meeting of the 27th. So just a reminder, while you look at this agenda, it may feel like the one on the 27th probably won't. And so there'll be a lot of work sessions likely on the 16th and 23rd. Anna.
Just real briefly on the ARPA conversation tomorrow, I had a brief conversation with the OMB director today. So they'll share more tomorrow, but just to say, I think we should anticipate a kind of new set of recommendations from the administration, including how to dispatch with the item that is currently on our agenda for Tuesday. So just to set clarity there, and they'll bring more information. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else from anyone for the good of the order? Anyone in the audience wish to participate? I'm seeing some emphatic no's. All right. With that, we'll go ahead and be adjourned. Thanks all.